the southern tip of La Palma. I've just shown you an image, a panel sweep of the salt pools of Fuculente, I think it's called, at the southern tip next to the lighthouse. And this area is pretty good for doing sunsets. And in the background you can see the southern spine of little volcanoes coming down to this end point. And you can also see the three islands. You can see Tenerife, shrouded in cloud, over there. I don't think I'll be going back there anytime soon. And then we've got this island, which is La Gomera, and this island over there is La Frontera. But I'm going to be doing my Astro, of course, at the Rock de los Muchachos at the top. But I thought I'd come down here, just have a little look. It's quite a windy road to get down here, so I'm going to go down and get a coffee at the lighthouse, and then I'll head back up.
So whilst I was down eating some food at the restaurant at the Salinas de Fuculente, I noticed these reflective pools as well as the salt pans. The reflective pools are to the south of the restaurant, and they look pretty good for Milky Way reflections. I even took a shot on the photo pills just to give an idea of what I'd be seeing. And I also took an image of the lighthouse over the salt pans with the sun setting in the west on photo pills. And so any astrophotographers or sunset photographers out there, you may want to come down here to do a little bit of imaging, because it shows great potential. And so I thought I'd share that with you. And now we're going to head into Stellarium just to see what the night sky looks like tonight over La Palma. And I'm going to give a brief description of what my aims are tonight before we then move into the night vlog. So here's Stellarium. So here we are in Stellarium, and tonight we have a setting Orion the Hunter, and we also have a crescent moon, which would be quite useful for foreground illumination maybe, and that moon will set quite late tonight at around 1:30 in the morning. But an opportunity to do some last Orion captures. We have a Pleiades and Venus of interests in the night sky, and a nice bright Jupiter too. We'll just put the constellations on. Sirius, Canis Major, Carina. Nice nebula there, it'd be nice to get that. And so, as the night progresses, you may all see in the southeast Rho starting to arise. And I want to get the whole constellation of Scorpius as something that's difficult to do in the northern hemisphere. And also we can see Vega, and that has interest tonight because that is the radiant point of the Lyrids. The meteor shower will be emanating from this area, and so I want to point the camera here towards the northeast to see if I can capture any meteors in this area. We also have Cygnus, we have Aquila the Swan arising, and there's a great nebulous region. So when I go for the Lyrids, I'll be wanting to have a look at any compositions where I can capture the Cygnus region with any good foreground interest too. And the Milky Way arc will rise quite nicely in the night sky, and so that will be a good arch to capture the Cygnus region, the Milky Way core and Rho, and we've got the summer triangle stars there as well, Altair, Vega and Deneb. And so there's a fair bit of interest in tonight's night sky. A late one after 4 in the morning for me to get this arc, and I can do that until about I'd say no later than 6:30 before the sun rises in the east. Boom. And so that's the plan for me tonight. Right, let's get to the vlog again. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Black Sky Photography again. I'm Garant, of course, and I found a nice little place here. I'm in a place called Pared De Roberto, and it's got a few angled, jaggedly volcanic rock pinnacles about the place, and a meandering path that leads up to the observatory ridge to the west, and a good viewpoint for the caldera behind me. And there's some shelter spots I can get from the wind here as well, so I quite like this place, so I'm going to certainly do some astrophotography in this area. And so tonight we've got the Lyrid Meteors, so I'm going to point a camera that way to the north and see if I capture any. I'm not very good at them, but I'll try my best for you. And of course to the south I want to get the Milky Way core rising again, so I'll have a camera pointing north and south, 180 degrees to each other. So hopefully I'll get something decent for you. And I'm going to have a little walk around the path and see if I can get any last shots of Orion sinking behind the observatory ridge over to my left over there. The moon doesn't set till half midnight, and so I'm going to have to wait a bit longer before the sky gets truly dark, but whoop, and it's a bit breezy every now and again. But as I was saying, a brighter moon might show up the foreground quite nice, and so I might do some foreground work while I wait for the sky to get dark. So yeah, looking forward to my second night. I'm just doing some shots of Orion as he sinks behind the ridge where the observatories are, so I've zoomed in a bit because they're quite far away, so I'm using the Sony 1.8G 85mm. Actually it's not a G, it's just a standard 85mm, but I've used it before on angle C, and it does a pretty good job on the stars. And I'm not using a long exposure because of the moon in the night sky. Well, I think I'm still getting some of the red nebula around Orion, Barnard's Loop. And so short exposures, only 25 seconds, ISO 800, aperture about 2.2 I think I'm using, maybe 2.8, but it's doing a good job of the night sky, regardless of a decent crescent up there. And so we'll do the foreground shots next. We'll spend a bit longer time on those, and yeah, it'll be quite a nice composition for tonight, for saying bye bye Yeah, to Orion. Yeah, I'm tracking the shot as well, so I don't have to worry about the rule of 500 or the MPF rule, where stars will streak if you spend too much time on a static tripod. So the move, shoot, move. I centered on Polaris. I think I shot a little video out earlier for you, and so conveniently placed above the path there. So yeah, strangely it's very calm. Maybe I'm sheltered by the wind here. Right, foreground shots next. That cloud inversion, isn't it something? Filling out the whole caldera with wonderful sea of white clouds, and wow. You know I've got to do a selfie down a path here, don't you? I have to get myself in the frame because it looks so cool. So yeah, I'm going to have to do my glow orb and get myself a nice backdrop of this wonderful cloud inversion. Got to be done. Time for a little coffee break, and need to wet the voice. It's dry up here in the caldera at altitude. We must be about 2,300 meters high. That's nearly 3 times the height of Snowdon, the highest mountain in England and Wales, eh? Aye. And so I've done some foreground compositions, a couple of selfies too, of course. And I set up the 16mm G lens, the f1.8 Sony, onto my non-astromodded Sony A7 III, and I've placed that on a rock up the path. It's going to have a nice wide view of a caldera behind me, and as the Milky Way core rises, I want to try and get those stars nice and sharp, and I'm going to try and run it all night. So I've put a dummy battery in it, and I've attached that to a bigger power bank, and so hopefully we'll get a load of shots. And I'm using aperture priority, so it's a type of technique where the sensor monitors how much light is required to expose properly, but you can set limits. And so there's a function with aperture priority where you can minimize the time to do the image, or maximize even the interval. And so it's called auto SS min, I should say. And I set the maximum exposure to 15 seconds, and I've done an interval of 17 seconds. So there's 2 seconds breathing space. The camera doesn't have to use all of those 15 seconds. It depends on ambient light. So I've used an ISO of 3200, but I've also set that to auto. So
the auto ISO is between 800 and 3200 or even 6400. So if it gets lighter towards dawn, then the time will reduce and then the ISO, and so it evens out, and so it should make for a less flicker free time lapse. So isn't that cool? This cloud inversion, still can't get over how well blanketed the caldera is with the white stuff. It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? And so I'm just waiting for Rho Opucci to come up a bit higher, and then I'm going to use my 85mm lens and shoot off some more shots, because I think the sky quality is really good tonight. There's a little bit, I think, cleaner, maybe a cloud last night, but I'm very happy that tonight there's no wind, I can't see any cloud, and I can't see any dust in the night sky yet. And so it's looking very promising for some really good night shots. Of course, I've been waiting for some meteors because it's the Lyrids. I'm still waiting. It should be happening over there. I got a nice green one yesterday, mind you, but it'd be nice to try and catch some live ones. Peaks around 3 in the morning, so yeah, another long night. But I'll have a go and see if I can get some nice meteors for you guys. And so hopefully we'll have a bit of action with core, meteors, cloud inversions, and nice coffee. Right, chill boys and girls, let's chill. Okay, so I've just been doing some 50mm work on the constellation Lyra and the Cygnus region. It lines up nicely with the rock pillars I'll show you in a minute, and it acts like a frame for where those Lyrid meteor showers is meant to come from. I've seen a couple of big ones, but I haven't got in the vlog camera yet. The vlog camera has been busy doing some star trails, gross star trails here in the Palma. And so I'm just going to take the H-alpha filter out of the camera and replace it with my 20mm Sony f1.8. It's become one of my favourite lenses, as well as this 50mm Voigtlander APO Lantha. Right. Lens removed. Looks like a little hockey stick, this little tool. And it's a little tool that just nudges out the H-alpha filter. I'm just going to aim it back. Need more light. There we are. H alpha filter removed. We'll put it back in this little box all neat. Still not much wind around. Been very lucky with weather tonight. The forecast was rain, showers, wind, but not up here. Right, let's put my 20mm lens in. There we go. I'll just house that on the back of Voigtlander. Another thing I like about the Sony lenses and the Sony ecosystem, especially the camera, is that the image quality and sharpness is really good. I'm finding in the pictures I'm taking, and the colour rendition is pretty cool. It's got good colour depth and dynamic range. Also, I've noticed it's ISO invariant, which means from about ISO 800 to 12,800, the noise floor doesn't change very much at all, which means it's more forgiving for if I do a rubbish exposure, which does happen quite a lot. But if I underexposed, say at ISO 800, and it was too dark, then in post-processing I can increase the exposure, increasing the brightness of the image, and the noise floor is not going to increase. No additional noise will be added to the image when you push the exposure higher. And so I like that in this camera system. It's easier to yield on your night photography targets, and so it's a nice lens for the amateurs like me. and so another reason I like the Sony. So I'm going to put the ISO invariance and the 1.8 Sony G lens to test on the Milky Way arch. The panorama is starting to come up quite nice, and the cloud inversion, we've got cloud mountains inside the caldera now to join the other ridges. And oh yeah, I also did another 85mm shot of Roapucci as it was rising above the eastern edge of a caldera ridge, and I got the whole of a constellation of Scorpius on, which I rarely get in the UK, so it's the first time I got that. And 85mm lens too. It's going to look nice, that one, I reckon. So yeah, doing some good stuff. Be nice to capture a meter or two, so I'm going to point the vlog camera at the two rock pillars which frame where those constellations and the radiant point of the Lyrid Meteors is meant to originate from. So come join me and I'll show you what I'm looking at. Come on, Meteor. Come on. Give me a nice flash of light. Let's see a good shooting star. Come on, come on.
Well, I had to do a selfie with my blue orb, didn't I? It was crying out for one between those two rocks, which act like the guardians to the mountain pass to the top of the Rock de los Muchachos ridges. And yeah, it finishes off really my landscape shots. The foreground I've completed to go over the night sky, beautiful Milky Way arch. Just wait till you see the image I'll hopefully put out at the end of the vlog. And you know, doing the foreground because it's so dark here, I had to do a little bit of light painting, and I also had to expose for about 3 minutes. I go for ISO 1600, sometimes 3200, depending on how distant the ridges are. But at f4 it gives me much better chance to increase the depth of field, so I don't get too much blurring in. Now I've done some focus stacking on some plants. There's not much flowering plants around here, but there's still a bit of green fauna worth capturing in the foreground. There's a bit of additional interest, so yeah, I did focus stack for that. I think now it's time to go to the observatories and do a couple more pictures there. Okay, you're welcome to follow me. Here we go. Oops, look how bright it is now. I'm afraid I didn't get time to do the observatories, girls and boys, sorry about that. One of the reasons was I went and left my time-lapse camera at the top of Pared De Roberto where I was shooting last night, and so I had to climb back up the path to retrieve it. I didn't fancy losing that camera. And then by the time I got back in the car and came back down here and found a place to set up, you know, the sun rise isn't far away and it gets light very quickly. But this is a perfect position to do the Milky Way shots over those wonderful magic telescopes. You can see the highly polished mirrors in that one there, the reflection of the impending sunrise about to hit those mirrors. And you know, I got another night maybe at least to come back and finish the job here. And so yeah, I don't need another excuse as opposed to head back up to the top of La Palma and see the wonderful night sky again. So I'm going to call this vlog to an end, and I hope you enjoyed watching what I did in this episode. And if you did, you know, give me the thumbs up, subscribe if you want. Anything you want to ask, any questions about what I do, just put in the comments below. And so, you know, I'm going to give you the images now and the time lapses I did. And so, of course, if you do go out, you have a good time, stay safe and take care. I'll be back.